Hi guys, relax, and allow the sounds of the modern world to drift a little farther away. Imagine a wide river moving quietly through an ancient land. The water glides beneath a pale sky. Soft reeds bend along the riverbanks. A warm breeze travels over the surface of the Nile and carries the scent of wet earth into the sleeping countryside. Far away from palaces and temples, far away from the names of kings carved into stone, ordinary people are waking for another day. The stars are still visible above the desert. The night has not completely left. A few lamps glow inside small mud brick homes. Their gentle light spills through open doorways and settles onto packed earth floors. The village is quiet. Only a few sounds move through the darkness. A donkey shifts in its sleep. A dog lifts its head and then settles down again. Somewhere nearby, water softly touches the riverbank. The people who live here know this hour well. For generations, their families have risen before sunrise. The rhythm of life follows the rhythm of the Nile. The river decides much about their days. It brings water. It brings rich soil. It brings food. It shapes the passing seasons. Inside one small home, a farmer slowly opens his eyes. The room is simple. The walls are made from sun-dried mud bricks. The roof above is supported by wooden beams. A woven mat lies on the floor where the family sleeps. During the night, the air has been cooler. But already there is a hint of warmth waiting beyond the walls. The farmer sits quietly for a moment. His wife is already awake. She moves carefully through the dim room, preparing for the day ahead. A small clay lamp flickers nearby. Its light dances across jars, baskets, and simple tools resting against the wall. Outside, the eastern horizon begins to lighten. The darkness slowly softens. Soon the first birds begin their morning calls. The village wakes little by little. There is no sudden rush. No loud signal. Only the gradual stirring of many lives beginning another ordinary day. The farmer steps outside. The earth beneath his sandals feels cool. Above him, the sky shifts from deep blue toward pale gold. The river reflects the growing light. Thin mist hangs above the water in quiet ribbons. Nearby, other villagers emerge from their homes. Some greet one another softly. Some remain silent, still waking. Everyone understands what awaits them. The fields must be tended. The animals must be fed. The work will continue as it always has. The farmer walks toward the edge of the village. A narrow dirt path leads between houses and storage buildings. The smell of baking bread already drifts through the air. In one home, grain is being ground between heavy stones. In another, dough is being shaped for the morning meal. The sounds are gentle and familiar. Stone against grain. Footsteps against earth. Voices carried on the morning breeze. As the sun slowly rises, its first light spreads across the fields. The farmland stretches beside the Nile in long green strips. Beyond them lies the desert. Dry hills wait in the distance, quiet and still. The contrast is striking. Near the river, life flourishes. Farther away, the land becomes harsh and empty. The farmers understand this better than anyone. Every harvest depends upon the river. Every season depends upon its waters. For thousands of years, the Nile has provided what the desert cannot. The farmer reaches his field. He pauses for a moment. Perhaps he studies the soil. Perhaps he watches the river. Perhaps he simply enjoys the cool air before the heat arrives. Soon enough, the sun will climb higher. Soon enough, sweat will cover his skin. For now, there is peace. The soil beneath his feet is dark and rich. Months earlier, flood waters covered much of this land. When the waters slowly withdrew, they left behind fertile mud. This gift from the river allows crops to grow where little else could survive. The farmer kneels. His hands touch the earth. Work begins. Hours pass quietly. The sun rises higher. Light spreads across the countryside. More workers appear in neighboring fields. Men, women, and older children all take part in the labor of daily life. Farming is not the task of one person alone. Entire families contribute. Some pull weeds. Some guide animals. Some carry baskets. Others tend irrigation channels that direct precious water into the fields. The work requires patience. There are no machines. Everything depends upon human effort and simple tools. Wooden hoes break the soil. Hands carry water. Feet walk endless distances across the fields. The pace is steady. The movements become familiar. Lift. Carry. Plant. Walk. Repeat. Morning gradually becomes late morning. The air grows warmer. The sounds of insects become more noticeable. Birds circle overhead. The smell of wet earth begins to mix with the smell of warming dust. Nearby, water flows through a narrow canal. The canal itself is the result of countless hours of labor. Ancient Egyptians developed systems to guide river water toward their crops. These channels help distribute life across the fields. Workers inspect them constantly. A blockage could reduce valuable water. A damaged bank could waste it. Every drop matters. The farmer wipes sweat from his forehead. The day has only just begun. Yet already the heat presses against the land. The Egyptian sun is relentless. As the morning continues, shadows shorten. The sky becomes bright and cloudless. The world seems painted in shades of gold, green, and brown. A merchant travels along a nearby road. His donkey carries baskets filled with goods. The road itself is little more than a dusty path worn by generations of travelers. Merchants, laborers, fishermen, officials, and farmers all use these routes. Their footsteps slowly shape the landscape. The merchant passes quietly. The farmer barely looks up. There is too much work to do. In the distance, another village rests along the riverbank. Palm trees sway gently nearby. Fishing boats drift upon the water. Life unfolds at a measured pace. No one rushes. The day moves according to the sun. As noon approaches, the heat becomes difficult. Workers seek brief moments of shade whenever they can find it. A tree. A wall. The side of a storage building. Even a little relief is welcome. The farmer sits for a short rest. His meal is simple. Bread. Perhaps onions. Perhaps dates. A little beer made from grain. Nothing extravagant. Yet after hours of labor, it is enough. Nearby, other workers eat quietly. Some talk. Some simply rest. The air shimmers above the fields. Even the animals seem slower now. The entire countryside feels drowsy beneath the afternoon sun. For a few moments, there is little movement. Only the sound of insects. Only the distant flow of water. Only the steady breathing of tired workers. And above them all, the endless Egyptian sky stretches from horizon to horizon. The Nile continues its quiet journey through the ancient world. Its waters reflect sunlight and carry boats north and south. Generations come and go. Children become parents. Parents become grandparents. Yet the river remains. The same water that nourished ancestors now nourishes their descendants. The same currents move past villages year after year. The same rhythms shape daily life. And as the afternoon slowly unfolds, the farmers return once more to their fields, continuing the patient work that sustains an entire civilization. The warm wind drifts across the land. Dust rises softly from the roads. The river glimmers nearby. And another ordinary day along the Nile continues beneath the ancient sun. The afternoon settles gently over the Nile Valley. The heat has reached its fullest strength now. The sun hangs high above the land, pouring light across fields, villages, workshops, and riverbanks. The air feels thick and still. Even distant sounds seem softer beneath the weight of the day. The farmer rises from his brief rest. His body already feels tired. The morning hours have passed in steady labor, and many more hours remain before darkness returns. This is simply the nature of life here. Work follows the movement of the sun, and the seasons leave little room for idleness. He adjusts the cloth around his shoulders and returns to the field. Around him, other workers do the same. Across the countryside, countless hands move through the crops. Some fields contain barley. Others hold emmer wheat. In some places, vegetables grow in carefully tended plots. Leeks, onions, beans, and lettuce appear in neat rows wherever water can be directed. The rich soil makes such growth possible. Without the Nile, much of this land would resemble the silent desert that waits beyond the horizon. A gentle breeze arrives from the river. It offers only slight relief. Still, the workers welcome it. The breeze carries the scent of water and reeds. It stirs the leaves of date palms and creates small ripples along the surface of irrigation channels. The farmer bends once more to his task. His movements are practiced. Years of repetition have made them almost effortless. His hands know what to do before his mind gives instruction. The same motions were performed by his father. And by his father's father. Many generations have worked these same fields beneath these same skies. Nearby, a young boy carries water. The clay jar appears heavy for his small frame, but he moves carefully along the edge of a narrow canal. He has likely been helping since early childhood. In ancient Egypt, children often joined the daily routines of their families at a young age. Life itself became their teacher. They learned by watching. They learned by helping. They learned through long days spent beside parents and relatives. The boy pauses to catch his breath. Then he continues. The afternoon sun glitters across the water behind him. Farther down the river, fishermen drift quietly in narrow boats. Their lives follow a different rhythm, yet they remain connected to the same river that sustains the farmers. One fisherman lowers a woven net into calm water. Another checks baskets placed earlier in the day. Their work requires patience. Hours may pass with little excitement. The river rewards those who wait. Small waves tap softly against wooden hulls. Birds perch among reeds along the shoreline. The fishermen work beneath the same bright sky that watches over the fields. Back on land, a woman walks toward the village carrying a basket balanced upon her head. She moves with steady confidence along a dusty path. Inside the basket are vegetables gathered for the evening meal. Her sandals leave faint marks in the dry earth. As she passes other villagers, quiet greetings are exchanged. No one seems hurried. The heat discourages unnecessary movement. Energy is precious. It must be saved for essential tasks. The village itself rests beneath the afternoon sun. Its mud-brick walls glow softly in the light. Many homes are built close together, creating narrow passages that provide welcome shade. The thick walls help keep interiors cooler than the open air outside. Inside one home, grain is being prepared. A woman kneels beside a grinding stone. Back and forth she moves the upper stone across the grain. The work is repetitive, slow, physical. Fine flour gradually gathers below. This process takes time. Bread begins long before dough is formed. Every meal requires effort. The stone produces a soft scraping sound that fills the room. Nearby, a child sits quietly watching. Outside, a donkey brays somewhere in the village. The sound drifts through open doorways and then fades. The afternoon continues. In another part of the settlement, a potter works beneath a simple shelter. The shade protects him from the strongest sunlight. His hands shape wet clay with practiced skill. The clay comes from the river. Like so many things in Egypt, its origin can be traced back to the Nile. The potter turns his wheel slowly. A vessel begins to emerge. Its walls rise beneath careful fingers. The shape is simple, useful, designed for storing water, grain, oil, or beer. Such objects fill homes throughout the valley. Most will never be admired for their beauty. Most will simply serve their purpose quietly. Yet each one begins in moments like these. The potter works steadily while dust drifts through warm shafts of sunlight. A few flies buzz lazily nearby. The afternoon seems endless. The heat presses gently against every living thing. Even the animals seek shade. Goats gather beside walls. Dogs sleep beneath trees. Birds remain hidden among leaves. The countryside appears almost motionless. Yet beneath this stillness, work continues everywhere. A scribe walks along a road near the village. His appearance differs from that of the farmers. He carries writing materials carefully. His responsibilities are different. Instead of tending crops, he records information. Taxes, harvest amounts, deliveries, property records, messages. The written word holds great importance in Egypt. Few people can read and write. Those who possess these skills often spend years learning them. The scribe passes through the village with calm purpose. People notice him. Some nod respectfully. His work connects ordinary lives to larger systems that extend across the kingdom. Yet even he cannot escape the afternoon heat. Sweat gathers beneath the sun. His sandals strike softly against the dusty road. Life along the Nile contains many occupations. Builders shape stone. Boatmen guide vessels. Merchants transport goods. Servants perform household tasks. Craftsmen create tools. Farmers cultivate the fields. Together, these countless routines support one another. Each role forms part of a larger whole. As the day slowly advances, shadows begin to lengthen. The change is subtle at first. The sun remains bright, but its angle shifts. The worst heat gradually eases. Workers notice. Bodies that felt heavy begin to move a little more freely. The farmer glances toward the western horizon. There is still work to complete. Yet evening no longer feels distant. The thought brings quiet comfort. A flock of birds crosses the sky. Their dark shapes move against the brilliant blue above. For a moment, many eyes follow them. Then attention returns to the tasks at hand. The hours continue slipping away. Along the riverbank, women wash clothing in the shallows. Their movements create gentle splashes. Water glimmers around their feet. Nearby, children play in ways that require little effort beneath the warm afternoon air. Laughter occasionally rises above the steady sounds of village life. Even these moments feel unhurried. The Nile flows beside them all. Always moving. Always present. Its surface reflects changing colors as the sun slowly begins its descent. Golden light appears along the water. The reeds glow softly. Palm trees cast longer shadows. The world seems to relax. The farmer finally straightens his back. His muscles ache. The day has demanded much from him. His hands are rough from labor. Dust clings to his skin. Yet there is satisfaction in seeing the fields cared for. The crops stand quietly beneath the fading sunlight. The irrigation channels continue carrying water. The work of today will help sustain tomorrow. As evening approaches, more villagers begin making their way home. The roads slowly fill with familiar faces. Tools are carried back towards storage places. Animals are gathered. Voices become slightly more frequent. The countryside enters another transition. Day is not finished. Night has not yet arrived. The world exists briefly between the two. The sun lowers farther. Its light softens. Warm gold spreads across the Nile Valley. The river seems brighter than before. Almost luminous. A fisherman guides his boat toward shore. A merchant reaches a village before darkness. Children return home. Cooking fires begin to appear. Thin streams of smoke rise into the calm air. The smell of baking bread drifts once more through narrow streets. Inside homes, preparations for the evening meal begin. Families gather after long hours apart. The work of the field slowly gives way to the quieter routines of night. And as the ancient sun continues its descent beyond the western horizon, the villages along the Nile settle into the gentle rhythm of evening, while the river carries its calm waters onward through the growing shadows. The evening light grows softer with each passing moment. The sun hangs low above the western horizon now, and its golden glow stretches across the Nile like a long ribbon of light. The water reflects the sky in gentle shades of amber and bronze. Reeds sway quietly along the riverbanks. Palm trees stand dark against the fading brightness. Throughout the countryside, workers continue their journeys home. The farmer walks slowly along a familiar path. Dust rises beneath his sandals. His body feels heavy after the long day. Every step reminds him of hours spent bending, lifting, carrying, and tending the land. Yet there is comfort in this weariness. It is a familiar companion, arriving each evening as reliably as the setting sun. Ahead, the village waits. Small mud brick homes glow warmly beneath the last light of day. Smoke drifts from cooking fires. Voices float through the air. Somewhere nearby, a child calls out to a friend. A donkey shifts its weight beside a wall. The village is coming alive in a different way now. The labor of daylight is ending. The quieter work of evening has begun. As the farmer enters the village, he passes neighbors returning from their own tasks. Some carry baskets. Some guide animals. Others balance jars or bundles upon their shoulders. Many exchange brief greetings. No long conversations are needed. Everyone understands the shape of the day that has just passed. Everyone understands the tiredness carried home each evening. The farmer reaches his house. The doorway stands open to welcome cooler air. Inside, the room feels dim and peaceful after the brightness of the fields. His family is preparing the evening meal. A clay lamp waits nearby, ready to be lit when darkness arrives. The smell of fresh bread fills the room. Simple food has always formed the center of daily life. Bread appears at nearly every meal. Its preparation consumes many hours. Grain must be harvested. Grain must be dried. Grain must be ground. Dough must be mixed. Bread must be baked. Each loaf represents countless small acts of labor. The farmer sits for a moment while the meal is arranged. His children move quietly around the room. One carries a basket. Another helps prepare food. Even after a full day, small tasks remain. Life continues through cooperation. Every member of the household contributes in some way. Outside, the sky begins to change. The brilliant blue of afternoon slowly deepens. Orange fades into rose. Rose fades into violet. The first stars prepare to appear. Meanwhile, along the riverbank, fishermen complete the final work of the day. Their boats drift toward shore through calm water. The river is quieter now. The winds have softened. The bright glare of afternoon has disappeared. Many fishermen prefer these peaceful hours. The Nile seems gentler in the evening. Almost reflective. Almost sleepy. A fisherman secures his boat. The ropes are tied carefully. Nets are gathered. Fish are sorted. Tomorrow the process will begin again. The rhythm rarely changes. Day after day. Season after season. Year after year. The river continues to provide. Not always generously. Not always predictably. But consistently enough to sustain life along its banks. Farther away, in another village, a baker finishes the day's final batch of bread. The oven remains warm from hours of use. The air inside the workshop carries the comforting scent of grain and smoke. The baker's hands are covered in fine flour. His work began long before sunrise. Now it finally draws toward its end. Outside the workshop, evening shadows stretch across narrow lanes. People move more slowly than they did in the morning. The entire village seems to exhale. The pressure of the day is fading. A cooler breeze drifts across the settlement. After the relentless heat of afternoon, the change feels welcome. Doors remain open. Families enjoy the fresh air. Children linger outside a little longer before darkness fully arrives. The sounds of the village shift. Tools are no longer striking wood and earth. Animals are settling into their places for the night. Conversations become softer. Laughter rises occasionally and then fades. Cooking fires crackle gently. Somewhere, a clay jar is set carefully upon a stone floor. Nearby, sandals scrape against packed earth. Simple sounds fill the evening. The sounds of ordinary lives. Inside many homes, families gather together for the evening meal. Food is shared. Stories are exchanged. The events of the day are discussed. There may not be much news. Life changes slowly here. Yet people still enjoy hearing about small things. A healthy calf. A successful catch. A repaired irrigation channel. A visitor passing through. These details weave together the fabric of daily life. The farmer listens while he eats. The bread is warm. The air entering through the doorway feels pleasant. Outside, darkness continues its gradual arrival. The stars become visible one by one. Ancient Egyptians knew these stars well. Night after night they watched them cross the sky. The heavens offered beauty, guidance, and a sense of order. Many evenings ended beneath their quiet light. The farmer steps outside after eating. The village looks different now. The harsh sunlight has disappeared completely. Lamplight glows softly through open doorways. Shadows gather between buildings. The air feels cooler against his skin. He stands for a moment and looks toward the Nile. Even in darkness, the river remains present. Its broad shape reflects pale starlight. Its waters continue moving silently through the night. Somewhere in the distance, a boat lantern flickers. The sight is small but comforting. Life still stirs along the river. Yet everything feels calmer now. The demands of daylight have loosened their grip. The farmer takes a slow breath. Nearby, neighbors sit outside their homes. Many prefer spending a little time outdoors before sleep. The interiors of mud-brick houses retain warmth from the day. Outside, the evening breeze feels refreshing. Conversations drift through the darkness. No one speaks loudly. The mood is peaceful. Children gradually grow sleepy. One by one they disappear inside. Their long day has ended. Soon they will sleep upon woven mats beside parents and siblings. The family home offers little privacy by modern standards. Space is shared. Life is shared. The sounds of breathing, movement, and sleep belong to everyone. As night deepens, activity continues in a few places. Guards watch over storage areas. Boatmen make final preparations. Some craftsmen finish work by lamplight. But most people are preparing for rest. Their bodies need it. Ancient labor is demanding. Fields require strength. Workshops require endurance. Daily survival requires energy. Sleep is not merely comfort. It is necessity. The farmer eventually returns inside. The lamp burns quietly nearby. Its flame dances against the mud-brick walls. The room glows with gentle light. His family is already settling down. The younger children are nearly asleep. Their breathing has become slow and even. Outside, the village grows quieter. The occasional bark of a dog breaks the silence. A distant animal shifts in the darkness. Then stillness returns. The farmer lies down upon a woven mat. The earth beneath provides a firm foundation. The day's labor remains in his muscles. His shoulders ache. His hands feel worn. Yet tiredness brings its own kind of peace. There is little effort required to fall asleep after such a day. The body welcomes rest. The mind grows quiet. The lamp continues burning for a little while longer. Its light flickers gently across baskets, jars, and simple household tools. Objects that served throughout the day now rest alongside their owners. Everything waits for morning. Outside, the Nile flows beneath the stars. Its waters move through darkness just as they moved through daylight. The river never truly sleeps. It continues its endless journey through the valley. The moon rises higher. Silver reflections appear upon the water. Reeds whisper softly in the night breeze. Far beyond the villages, the desert lies silent beneath the stars. Its vast emptiness surrounds the fertile ribbon of life created by the river. The contrast remains as ancient as memory itself. Within this narrow green valley, countless families sleep. Farmers, fishermen, potters, boatmen, servants, builders, scribes, merchants, each resting after another ordinary day. Each preparing to begin again when dawn returns. And while the villages settle into deeper silence, the Nile continues gliding through the darkness, carrying cool water past sleeping homes, quiet fields, and gently swaying reeds beneath the endless stars of ancient Egypt. The night deepens across the Nile Valley. Most of the village is asleep now. The narrow lanes between mud-brick homes sit quiet beneath the stars. The cooking fires have faded into glowing embers. The last conversations ended long ago. Doors remain closed against wandering animals and drifting dust. A coolness has settled over the land, replacing the heavy heat that filled the afternoon. Above everything, the sky stretches endlessly. Without bright city lights, the stars appear in remarkable numbers. Thousands upon thousands shine over the river, over the fields, over the sleeping villages that line the fertile banks of the Nile. For many people in ancient Egypt, these stars are familiar companions. Night after night, season after season, they cross the heavens in patterns that seem steady and eternal. The river reflects tiny pieces of their light. Its surface appears dark and smooth. Only occasionally does a small ripple disturb the reflection. The Nile continues moving through the darkness with patient certainty. Inside the farmer's home, sleep has settled over the family. The room is quiet except for slow breathing. The clay lamp has burned low. Its flame finally fades. Darkness fills the room completely. The children sleep close together. The farmer and his wife rest nearby. The woven mats beneath them are simple. The walls around them are plain. Yet after a day of labor beneath the sun, these modest comforts are enough. The body asks for little beyond rest. Outside, a dog lifts its head. For a moment it listens. Perhaps it has heard a distant animal moving through the darkness. Perhaps only the sound of wind passing through palm leaves. After a few moments, the dog settles again. The village remains still. Farther along the river, a fisherman wakes briefly. The habit has developed over many years. He listens to the sounds outside his home. The river. The breeze. The faint rustle of reeds. Everything seems normal. Soon he returns to sleep. The night continues. Hours pass quietly. The moon slowly crosses the sky. Its pale light touches rooftops, irrigation channels, and silent roads worn smooth by countless footsteps. In the fields, crops rest beneath the darkness. The barley stands motionless. The wheat waits quietly. The water inside irrigation ditches reflects the moon like polished metal. Nothing seems hurried. Nothing demands attention. The entire landscape appears suspended between one day and the next. Meanwhile, in larger settlements farther along the Nile, a few people remain awake. Some guards watch over storehouses filled with grain. Others sit near gates or docks. Their responsibilities continue through the night. Even here, however, activity remains calm. The hours before dawn belong mostly to silence. The guard leans against a wall. The stone beneath him still holds a little warmth from the day. He watches shadows shift slowly as the moon moves overhead. His thoughts drift. Perhaps toward family. Perhaps toward tomorrow's work. Perhaps nowhere at all. The night encourages quiet reflection. There are no crowds. No busy markets. No demands from the fields. Only darkness and time. Along the riverbank, reeds whisper softly whenever a breeze arrives. Small creatures move through the vegetation. Birds sleep with heads tucked beneath wings. The river continues its gentle passage. Its water has traveled great distances. It has passed villages, temples, fields, and rocky shores. Tomorrow it will continue onward. The river never rests. Yet somehow it always feels peaceful. As the night reaches its deepest hours, the air grows cooler still. People pull light coverings closer. The farmer shifts slightly in his sleep. His hands bear the marks of labor. His shoulders carry years of work. Even while resting, his body reflects a lifetime spent beside the Nile. For generations, families like his have followed the same rhythm. Wake before sunrise. Work beneath the sun. Return home at dusk. Sleep beneath the stars. The pattern repeats so often that it becomes inseparable from life itself. Hours continue passing. Gradually, almost imperceptibly, the eastern horizon begins to change. The darkness remains. The stars still shine. Yet something subtle is happening. Night is beginning to loosen its hold. The first signs of dawn arrive long before sunrise itself. A faint pale color appears far away. The change is easy to miss. Most sleepers remain unaware. But nature notices. A bird shifts among the reeds. Another opens its eyes. The river reflects a hint of the coming morning. Slowly, very slowly, the world begins preparing for another day. Inside the farmer's home, the family still sleeps. The room remains dark. Yet outside, the horizon grows slightly lighter. The moon appears less bright than before. Stars nearest the eastern sky begin to fade. The transition is gentle. No sudden moment separates night from morning. Instead, darkness slowly becomes less dark. The farmer's wife wakes first. This happens often. Her eyes open while the rest of the household remains asleep. For a few moments she stays still. The village is silent. The cool air feels pleasant. Soon enough, heat will return. Soon enough, work will begin. For now, there is peace. She rises carefully. Years of practice allow her to move quietly through the room. She does not wish to wake the children yet. The household still belongs to the pre-dawn hours. Outside, she steps into the cool air. The stars remain visible overhead. The eastern horizon continues brightening. A faint gray light spreads slowly across the landscape. Nearby homes remain dark. Most doors stay closed. Most families still sleep. The village appears peaceful in this brief space between night and morning. She begins preparing for the day. Water is gathered. Tools are checked. Simple tasks start before sunrise. Throughout ancient Egypt, countless households are doing the same. Across the valley, women rise early to prepare food, organize supplies, and begin the routines that support daily life. Their work often begins before anyone else awakens. Inside the house, the farmer slowly opens his eyes. For a moment he listens. The familiar sounds are returning. A distant bird. A quiet footstep. The faint movement of someone preparing the morning meal. Another day has arrived. His muscles feel stiff from yesterday's labor. His body would gladly remain resting. But the fields are waiting. The crops require attention. The river continues its cycle. The seasons continue moving forward. Life along the Nile allows little delay. He sits up slowly. The room remains dim. The children still sleep. Outside, dawn spreads farther across the horizon. A soft silver light fills the village. Shapes emerge from darkness. Walls become visible. Paths appear once more. Palm trees stand outlined against the brightening sky. Soon other homes begin to stir. Doors open. People emerge quietly. The village wakes in small pieces. One household at a time. One family at a time. A donkey shakes its head. A goat bleats softly. Birdsong becomes more frequent. The sounds of morning gather gradually. The farmer steps outside. The air is wonderfully cool. For a few precious moments, the heat of the day remains far away. He pauses and looks toward the Nile. Mist hangs lightly above the water. The river appears calm and almost dreamlike beneath the first light of dawn. The sight never grows old. He has seen it thousands of times. Still, each morning offers its own quiet beauty. Nearby, another farmer walks toward his fields. Then another. and another. Small figures move through the growing light. The countryside begins awakening. The work of a new day is about to begin. The first rays of sunlight touch the horizon. Golden light spreads slowly across the Nile Valley. The river brightens. The fields glow softly. The roofs of mud-brick homes catch the morning sun. Another ordinary day is arriving. Another day of planting, carrying, repairing, harvesting, baking, fishing, recording, building, and enduring the heat. The same rhythm that shaped the lives of parents and grandparents continues once more. And as the sun rises over the ancient river, countless workers begin moving toward their tasks, while the Nile glides quietly beside them, steady and eternal beneath the awakening sky. The first sunlight spreads gently across the Nile Valley. The day is still young. A pale golden glow rests upon the river, and the air remains cool enough to feel pleasant against the skin. Long shadows stretch from palm trees and mud-brick walls. The village is fully awake now, though the pace remains calm and unhurried. The farmer begins walking toward his fields. His sandals press softly into the dusty path. Ahead of him, the fertile land follows the river's edge in a broad green ribbon. Beyond it, the desert waits in silence. The contrast appears almost magical in the early light. One side of the world is filled with life. The other is filled with stone, sand, and distance. The Nile creates this narrow path of green through an otherwise harsh landscape. Without it, the villages would not exist. The fields would disappear. The roads would fall silent. Life itself would become much more difficult. The farmer walks beside neighbors heading in the same direction. Some carry tools over their shoulders. Others guide donkeys loaded with baskets. Quiet greetings pass between them. The morning does not encourage long conversations. Most people are still waking fully. Their thoughts remain simple. The work ahead. The weather. The condition of the crops. The water levels in nearby canals. These are the concerns that fill their minds. As they reach the fields, the sun climbs a little higher. The sky is clear. Only a few thin clouds drift far away. The farmer pauses near an irrigation channel. Water moves steadily through it. The sight is reassuring. Good water flow means healthy crops. Healthy crops mean food for families. The connection is simple and direct. Every farmer understands it deeply. He kneels beside the channel. The earth feels cool beneath his hands. He inspects the small embankments carefully. A weak section could allow valuable water to escape. A blockage could prevent crops from receiving what they need. Even minor problems deserve attention. Much of farming involves observation. Watching. Checking. Adjusting. Responding. The river provides life, but people must still guide its gifts where they are needed. Nearby, another worker uses a simple wooden tool to clear sediment from a canal. The task is repetitive. Mud is lifted. The channel is smoothed. Water begins flowing more freely. The work may seem small, yet it matters greatly. Thousands of such efforts keep the agricultural system functioning. Every field depends upon countless acts of maintenance. As the morning continues, more sounds fill the countryside. Birds move through the reeds. Insects hum above the crops. Donkeys bray from distant paths. Voices carry across the fields. The valley slowly comes alive. The farmer begins working among his crops. His movements are steady and familiar. He bends. Walks. Lifts. Examines. Adjusts. Each action follows years of experience. He understands the soil beneath his feet. He notices subtle changes. A patch that needs more water. A plant that appears weak. A section growing especially well. These observations become part of his daily routine. Nearby, several children help with lighter tasks. They move carefully through the field carrying baskets and tools. The work teaches them valuable skills. There are no formal classrooms waiting for most farming children. The fields themselves become places of learning. Knowledge passes from one generation to the next through daily experience. A father demonstrates. A child watches. Soon the child attempts the task. Little by little, understanding grows. The morning air remains pleasant. This is one of the most comfortable parts of the day. Workers know it will not last. The Egyptian sun is patient. It rises steadily. Each hour brings more warmth. For now, however, there is still freshness in the breeze coming from the river. Along the Nile itself, activity increases. Fishing boats leave the shore. Merchants prepare cargo. Boatmen untie ropes and push vessels into the current. The river serves as a great highway through Egypt. Travel by water is often easier than travel across land. Goods move north and south. Grain. Vegetables. Papyrus. Pottery. Wood. Stone. Countless items travel aboard boats throughout the year. A boat glides silently through the morning mist. Its sail catches a gentle breeze. The vessel moves smoothly across the water. The scene appears peaceful enough to be painted upon a temple wall. Yet for the people aboard, it is simply another ordinary day. Routine shapes nearly every aspect of life. The same can be said for the women working within the village. Back in the settlement, many households remain busy long after the men have departed for the fields. Bread preparation continues. Water must be carried. Children require care. Clothing needs repair. Food must be stored properly. The tasks never fully disappear. One woman carries a clay jar from a community water source. The jar is heavy. She balances it carefully. The journey is familiar. She has likely made it hundreds, perhaps thousands, of times. The path feels almost automatic beneath her feet. Nearby, another woman sits in the shade repairing a woven basket. The basket has served the family well. Rather than discard it, she patiently replaces damaged sections. Resources are valuable. Useful items are repaired whenever possible. The village economy depends upon practicality. Nothing is wasted without reason. The sun continues rising. The light grows stronger. Shadows shorten. The pleasant coolness of dawn begins fading. Workers notice. A slight sheen of sweat appears. Water becomes more welcome. The pace of labor remains steady, but everyone understands what lies ahead. The hottest hours are approaching. Still, much can be accomplished before then. The farmer wipes dust from his hands. Nearby, a pair of oxen move slowly through a field. Their strength assists with agricultural work that would otherwise require even greater human effort. The animals are valuable members of rural life. They help prepare land. They transport goods. They contribute to daily survival in many ways. The farmer watches them briefly. Then he returns to his own task. The hours slip by quietly. Morning becomes late morning. The sun climbs higher. The countryside brightens. Heat begins radiating from the ground itself. A faint shimmer appears above distant fields. The river remains beautiful, but even its cooling influence cannot fully resist the growing warmth. Workers adjust their pace. Movements become slightly slower, more deliberate. Energy must be managed carefully. The day is long. There is no benefit in exhausting oneself too early. A flock of birds rises suddenly from the reeds. Their wings flash in the sunlight. For a moment, many workers glance upward. The sight is brief. Then attention returns to the land. Ancient life leaves little room for distraction. The crops demand care. The animals require attention. The canals must function properly. The needs of daily life remain constant. Along a nearby road, a merchant leads several donkeys loaded with goods. Dust follows behind them. The animals move patiently beneath the growing sun. Their bells produce faint sounds as they walk. The merchant wipes sweat from his brow. Travel is rarely easy. Yet roads and river routes connect communities throughout the Nile Valley. News travels along these paths. Goods travel along these paths. People travel along these paths. The valley feels vast, yet connected. Every village depends upon many others. As the morning approaches its final hours, the heat becomes more noticeable. The farmer can feel it settling across the fields. His clothing grows damp. His muscles begin to tire. The cool freshness of dawn now feels like a distant memory. Still, he continues. Everyone does. The work cannot simply stop because the day becomes difficult. Food depends upon effort. Families depend upon harvests. Life depends upon persistence. The farmer pauses beside the irrigation channel once more. The water glides quietly through its narrow path. Sunlight sparkles upon its surface. He cups a little water in his hands. The cool sensation provides brief relief. Then he stands. The field stretches before him. The river glimmers nearby. The sky remains vast and cloudless. Another morning is passing along the Nile. Another chapter in a life shaped by water, soil, sunlight, and labor. And as the sun rises ever higher above the valley, the farmers continue their work beneath its growing heat, while the ancient river flows onward beside them, steady and calm beneath the brightening Egyptian sky. The morning slowly gives way to midday. The sun continues its steady climb until it hangs high above the Nile Valley. The soft golden colors of dawn have long since disappeared. In their place comes a brilliant white light that covers the land from horizon to horizon. The shadows that stretched across the fields only a few hours ago have nearly vanished. Palm trees cast small pools of shade. Mudbrick walls offer narrow strips of relief. Everywhere else, sunlight pours down without interruption. The farmer feels the change clearly. The cool air of early morning has become a memory. Heat now arises from the soil beneath his feet and presses down from the sky above. His clothing clings slightly to his skin. Dust settles on his arms. Sweat forms across his brow and disappears almost as quickly beneath the dry warmth of the day. Still, the work continues. The crops do not pause because the sun is strong. The irrigation channels do not maintain themselves. The responsibilities of the field remain the same. The farmer moves carefully between rows of growing plants. His pace is slower now. Not from laziness. From experience. People who spend their lives beneath the Egyptian sun learn to respect it. They understand that strength must be preserved. Energy must be used wisely. The day is far from over. Nearby, another worker lifts a basket filled with weeds removed from a field. The basket appears heavy. His shoulders tighten beneath the weight. He carries it to the edge of the field and empties it onto a growing pile. Then he turns and begins again. The task is repetitive. Many tasks in ancient Egypt are repetitive. The same movements are performed countless times. Day after day. Season after season. Year after year. Yet within that repetition exists a quiet rhythm. A familiar pattern. A way of life that has shaped entire generations. The wind shifts slightly. For a moment, a cooler breeze drifts from the river. The workers welcome it. Even the smallest relief feels precious now. The breeze moves through reeds along the water's edge. It stirs the leaves of date palms. It carries the scent of damp earth and fresh water across the fields. Then it passes. The heat remains. Along the Nile itself, activity continues despite the rising temperature. Boats move steadily through the water. Some carry grain. Some carry stone. Others transport pottery, vegetables, or bundles of papyrus. Boatmen work beneath broad sails whenever the wind allows. The sails catch the breeze and help ease the burden of travel. The river serves as a lifeline. It connects settlements large and small. Its waters carry both goods and people through the valley. One boat glides past a small fishing village. Children watch from the shore. Their feet rest in the cool mud beside the water. Some wave toward the passing crew. Others simply stare with quiet curiosity. The boat continues onward. Soon it disappears around a gentle bend in the river. Back in the village, midday approaches. The narrow streets grow quieter. Many people seek shelter from the strongest sunlight. Animals retreat into shade. Dogs sleep beneath walls. Goats gather beneath trees. Even birds seem less active. The entire landscape appears to slow beneath the weight of the afternoon heat. Inside a mudbrick home, a woman kneels beside a grinding stone. Her work began hours ago. The motion continues steadily. Back and forth. Back and forth. The sound is soft but constant. Grain slowly becomes flour. Flour will become bread. Bread will become the evening meal. The process demands patience. The stone feels heavy. Her arms ache slightly. Yet she continues without complaint. This work feeds her family. The room remains cooler than the world outside. Thick walls block some of the heat. Small openings allow limited air to circulate. The dim interior feels peaceful compared to the brightness outdoors. Nearby, clay jars stand against the wall. They hold water collected earlier in the day. The water remains surprisingly cool. Family members occasionally pause for a drink before returning to their tasks. Every household develops ways of coping with the heat. Shade becomes valuable. Water becomes valuable. Rest becomes valuable. A short distance away, a potter continues working beneath a simple shelter. The roof above him provides welcome protection from the sun. His hands move carefully over wet clay. The wheel turns slowly. Another vessel begins taking shape. The clay feels cool against his fingers. For a moment, it offers relief from the surrounding warmth. The potter focuses entirely on his work. The world seems to narrow. Only the clay matters. Only the shape. Only the movement of skilled hands guiding soft earth into something useful. The hours pass quietly. Nearby, another craftsman repairs farming tools. Wooden handles are checked. Worn pieces are replaced. Simple maintenance today may prevent greater problems tomorrow. Throughout the village, countless small acts of care and repair help keep daily life functioning. Nothing lasts forever. Everything requires attention. The sun reaches its highest point. This is often the most difficult part of the day. The light feels almost overwhelming. The air shimmers above the fields. Distant objects appear slightly blurred through waves of rising heat. The farmer finally pauses. Many workers do. The body demands a brief rest. He finds shade beside a tree near the edge of the field. Others gather nearby. Some sit quietly. Some drink water. Some eat simple food brought from home. Bread, onions, dates, perhaps a little dried fish. The meals are modest. Yet after hours of labor, they feel satisfying. No one speaks very loudly. The heat discourages unnecessary effort. Voices remain calm. Conversations drift slowly. A few comments about water levels. A remark about crops. A brief observation about the weather. Then silence returns. The workers rest. The tree's shade feels precious. Its leaves move gently overhead. The river glimmers nearby. For a few moments, the demands of labor fade into the background. The farmer closes his eyes. Not to sleep. Only to rest. The sound of water reaches him faintly. A bird calls somewhere among the reeds. A distant boatman shouts instructions to his crew. The sounds blend together into a quiet afternoon melody. Nothing feels urgent. The day simply unfolds at its own pace. After a while, the workers rise once more. The fields still require attention. The afternoon stretches ahead. The farmer returns to his task. His muscles protest slightly. His back feels stiff. Yet movement soon loosens the discomfort. Work resumes. The cycle continues. Across the valley, thousands of people are doing the same. Farmers in distant fields. Fishermen on the river. Builders near temples. Craftsmen in workshops. Servants within households. Scribes beneath shaded courtyards. Each person contributes to the life of the kingdom in their own way. Most will never be remembered by name. Most will leave no monuments behind. Yet their efforts sustain everything around them. The great cities. The temples. The markets. The storehouses. All depend upon ordinary people completing ordinary tasks. The afternoon slowly advances. The sun begins a nearly invisible descent toward the west. The heat remains strong, but the promise of evening exists somewhere ahead. The farmer notices longer shadows beginning to form. Only slightly. Barely enough to measure. Still, they are there. A reminder that no matter how intense the day may feel, it will eventually pass. The river continues flowing beside the fields. Steady. Reliable. Ancient. Its waters sparkle beneath the sunlight. Reeds sway gently along its banks. The same currents that nourished ancestors continue nourishing their descendants. Generation after generation. Century after century. The Nile remains. And beneath the vast afternoon sky, countless workers continue their patient labor, while the river glides onward through the heart of Egypt, carrying cool water past fields, villages, and tired farmers enduring another warm day in the ancient world. The afternoon stretches onward across the Nile Valley. The sun has begun its slow journey toward the western horizon, though the heat still lingers over the land. The brightest part of the day is passing now. Workers notice the change little by little. It arrives not with a sudden cooling, but with subtle signs. The shadows grow slightly longer. The light softens almost imperceptibly. The breeze from the river feels a little more welcome. The farmer continues moving through his field. His pace remains steady. Hours of labor have settled into his muscles. His hands are dusty. His shoulders ache. Yet there is a certain comfort in the familiar rhythm of work. The body learns what to expect. The mind settles into routine. Nearby, water continues flowing through the irrigation channels. The sound is gentle, almost soothing. The channels carry life through the fields, weaving between rows of crops before returning toward the river. Tiny reflections dance across the water's surface. The farmer pauses to inspect a small section of embankment. A little repair is needed. He kneels and presses damp earth into place. The work is simple. Many important tasks are simple. Small efforts repeated consistently shape the success of an entire harvest. The repair takes only a few minutes. Soon water moves exactly where it should. The farmer stands and brushes dust from his hands. The afternoon continues. Across nearby fields, other workers perform similar tasks. Some pull weeds. Some harvest vegetables. Others gather bundles of grain from earlier harvests and move them towards storage areas. Everywhere there is motion. Not hurried motion. Steady motion. The kind that comes from people accustomed to long days. The kind that comes from generations of experience. Along a road near the river, several donkeys move slowly beneath loaded baskets. The animals follow familiar paths between villages. Their hooves stir small clouds of dust. The bells hanging from their harnesses create soft sounds as they walk. A merchant leads them patiently. His face is shaded by a simple cloth. His sandals are worn from many journeys. Travel along the Nile is common. Goods move constantly between communities. No village exists entirely alone. Each depends upon others. One settlement may produce grain. Another may specialize in pottery. Another may provide fish, baskets, or tools. The river and roads connect them all. The merchant walks beneath the afternoon sun. The journey is not easy. Yet he knows every bend in the road. Every resting place. Every village ahead. The route has become part of his life. Nearby, a small riverside market has begun to stir. It is not large. Most ancient markets are modest places compared to the great centers of trade found in larger cities. Still, they serve an important purpose. People gather to exchange goods. News travels from village to village. Conversations drift between neighbors. A fisherman arrives carrying part of the day's catch. A potter displays newly fired vessels. A farmer brings vegetables harvested earlier that morning. The market possesses its own quiet energy. Nothing dramatic. Nothing loud. Simply the steady exchange of necessities. A woman examines a clay jar. She runs her fingers along its surface. The potter waits patiently nearby. Eventually an agreement is reached. The jar changes hands. Life continues. The marketplace remains filled with ordinary moments like these. Far from the affairs of kings and officials, people focus on practical concerns. Food. Tools. Storage jars. Cloth. Daily necessities. The needs of life remain remarkably consistent. Meanwhile, back in the village, preparations for the evening meal have already begun. The day's labor is not yet finished, but experienced households know how quickly evening arrives. A woman checks bread baking inside a small oven. The smell fills the air. Warm. Comforting. Familiar. The scent drifts into nearby lanes. Others are preparing vegetables. Some are grinding additional grain. Others fetch water before darkness comes. The routines repeat day after day. There is reassurance in that repetition. Everyone knows what must be done. Everyone understands their role. Children help wherever they can. One child gathers kindling. Another carries a small basket. A third watches younger siblings while adults remain occupied. The work is shared. No task seems especially important on its own. Yet together they create the foundation of daily life. As the afternoon progresses, the heat begins easing further. Workers feel it immediately. The change lifts spirits slightly. Breathing becomes easier. Movements feel less exhausting. The farmer straightens and looks across his field. The crops sway gently beneath a light breeze. The sight brings quiet satisfaction. There is still much work ahead before harvest. There always is. Yet the field appears healthy. The water is flowing. The plants are growing. For now, that is enough. A flock of white birds rises from the riverbank. Their wings catch the sunlight. For a few moments they circle above the water before disappearing toward distant marshes. The farmer watches them briefly. The countryside often provides small moments of beauty. They arrive unexpectedly. A bird crossing the sky. A reflection upon the river. A breeze moving through palm leaves. Such moments require no effort. They simply appear. The late afternoon light grows warmer. Golden tones begin returning to the landscape. The harsh brightness of midday slowly softens. The Nile reflects the changing colors. Its waters seem calmer now. More peaceful somehow. Fishing boats continue their work along the river. One boat drifts near a stand of reeds. The fisherman moves carefully. The day's catch has been modest but sufficient. His hands bear the signs of years spent working upon the water. The sun has darkened his skin. The river has shaped his life. Much like the farmer in the fields, he depends upon forces larger than himself. Weather, water, season, patience. These determine much of his success. The fisherman pulls in a net. The movement is practiced. Efficient. The result is acceptable. He nods quietly and prepares for the journey home. Across the valley, thousands of similar moments unfold. Ordinary people completing ordinary tasks. A builder stacks stone. A servant sweeps a courtyard. A boatman secures a rope. A baker removes bread from an oven. A scribe finishes recording figures upon a sheet of papyrus. No one imagines that distant generations may one day wonder about their lives. No one thinks of history. They think about tomorrow's work. Tomorrow's meal. Tomorrow's weather. Life exists in the present. The future remains unseen. The sun continues lowering. Now the signs of evening become unmistakable. Long shadows stretch across fields. The air cools gradually. Animals become more active once again. Birds call from trees. Donkeys move along roads. Goats wander toward shelters. The farmer feels the day's exhaustion settling into his body. It arrives gently. Not all at once. A heaviness in the legs. A stiffness in the back. A weariness behind the eyes. These are familiar companions. They visit every evening. Yet there is comfort in knowing rest lies ahead. Soon he will return home. Soon the evening meal will be shared. Soon the coolness of night will replace the heat of day. For now, however, there is still work to finish. The final hours of daylight are often valuable. The temperature is more manageable. The light remains sufficient. Many farmers use these hours wisely. The farmer continues until the sun approaches the horizon. Its golden light bathes the entire valley. Fields glow softly. Palm trees stand silhouetted against the sky. The Nile shines like polished metal. Dust drifting along distant roads becomes luminous in the evening light. The world seems calmer than it did only a few hours ago. The rush of heat has passed. The land appears ready to rest. The farmer takes one final look across his field. The irrigation channels continue their quiet work. The crops stand peacefully beneath the fading sun. Tomorrow they will be here again. Tomorrow the work will continue. Tomorrow another cycle will begin. But for now, evening approaches. The day slowly releases its hold upon the Nile Valley. And beneath a sky turning gold and amber, farmers, fishermen, merchants, craftsmen, and families begin making their way home, while the ancient river flows onward beside them, carrying the reflections of another fading day through the heart of Egypt. The evening settles gently over the Nile Valley. The sun slips lower and lower until it touches the distant horizon. Its final light spreads across the river in long bands of gold and copper. The fields glow softly. The tops of palm trees catch the last warmth of the day. For a few precious moments, everything seems to slow. The heat that ruled the afternoon begins to fade. A cooler breeze drifts from the river. Workers feel it immediately. After many hours beneath the sun, the evening air feels almost like a gift. The farmer gathers his tools. His movements are slower now. Not from age alone. Not from reluctance. Simply from exhaustion. The day has been long. His muscles have carried him through countless small tasks. Now they welcome the thought of rest. Around him, other farmers are doing the same. Across the fields, figures begin moving toward the villages. Some walk alone. Some travel beside family members. Others guide animals along familiar paths. The countryside gradually empties. The fields that were busy throughout the day begin returning to silence. Only the irrigation channels remain active. Water continues flowing quietly through them. The Nile never truly stops. Even while people rest, the river continues its ancient journey. The farmer starts walking home. Dust rises softly beneath his sandals. The western sky burns with shades of amber, rose, and pale violet. The beauty of the evening arrives without ceremony. No one pauses to admire it for long. Such sights are common here. People have grown up beneath these skies. Yet perhaps, without realizing it, they still appreciate them. The colors. The breeze. The feeling of a hard day's work ending. These things become part of life. As the farmer approaches the village, familiar sounds greet him. Children laugh nearby. A goat calls from behind a wall. Donkeys return from the roads. Voices drip through narrow lanes. The village is changing from a place of labor into a place of rest. Cooking fires burn throughout the settlement. Thin ribbons of smoke rise into the evening sky. The smell of baking bread drifts everywhere. Warm. Comforting. Familiar. Many families are preparing their evening meal. The scent fills the air between homes. It mingles with the smell of earth, river water, and wood smoke. For someone returning after a long day in the fields, it is a welcome sign. The farmer enters the village. Neighbors pass by. Brief greetings are exchanged. No one seems rushed. The urgency of daytime has faded. People move at a gentler pace now. There is nowhere important to be except home. He reaches his doorway. The walls of the house still hold some warmth from the afternoon sun, but the interior feels pleasant compared to the open fields. Inside, preparations are nearly complete. A clay lamp waits nearby. Soon darkness will require its light. The family gathers together. Simple meals have always been at the center of household life. Food is more than nourishment. It is one of the few times each day when everyone can pause. Everyone can sit together. Everyone can share the same moment. Bread is placed before them. Vegetables gathered earlier are prepared. Dates may be included. Perhaps fish from the river. The meal is modest. Most meals are. Yet hunger makes simple food satisfying. The farmer takes his first bite. The bread is fresh and warm. The taste feels especially welcome after a day of labor. The children eat eagerly. Their own work may have been lighter than the adults, but they too have spent the day helping where they could. The room fills with quiet conversation. Small stories are exchanged. Nothing dramatic. Nothing extraordinary. A canal repaired. A bird seen near the river. A neighbor's donkey escaping briefly before being recovered. Ordinary events. Yet these small details help connect people. The world of the village is built from countless moments just like these. Outside, darkness continues gathering. The last traces of sunlight disappear beyond the horizon. The sky deepens into rich shades of blue. Then darker blue. Then black. One by one, stars begin appearing overhead. Ancient Egyptians knew these stars intimately. Night after night they watched them emerge. Many could identify familiar patterns without effort. The sky itself became part of daily life. A source of beauty. A source of guidance. A source of quiet comfort. After the meal, some families remain indoors. Others step outside to enjoy the cooler air. The farmer chooses to sit near the doorway. A gentle breeze moves through the village. The relief is immediate. The heat of afternoon now feels far away. Nearby, several neighbors sit together. Soft conversations drip through the darkness. No one speaks loudly. There is no need. The night encourages calm voices. The village itself seems to relax. Children play for a little while longer. Their laughter rises and falls. Eventually they grow tired. One by one they return indoors. The energy of the settlement slowly fades. Along the riverbank, fishermen finish securing their boats. Ropes are checked carefully. Nets are gathered. Wooden hulls rest against the shore. Tomorrow before sunrise, many of these boats will return to the water. For now they remain still beneath the stars. The Nile reflects moonlight in long silver paths. The river appears peaceful. Almost dreamlike. A fisherman pauses before heading home. For a moment he simply watches the water. The current moves steadily. The same current that flowed yesterday. The same current that will flow tomorrow. There is something reassuring about such consistency. The river changes and remains the same all at once. Back in the village, clay lamps begin glowing inside homes. Small points of light appear throughout the settlement. Their flickering flames illuminate walls, baskets, jars, and sleeping mats. The light is soft, gentle, perfect for evening. The farmer's family gathers their belongings. The day is ending. Tomorrow will begin early. Rest is important. The children are already becoming sleepy. One rubs tired eyes. Another struggles to stay awake. The long day has finally caught up with them. The family prepares for sleep. Their arrangements are simple. Woven mats are placed upon the floor. Light coverings are spread nearby. There are no large bedrooms. No separate sleeping spaces for every individual. Families live closely together. They share the same room. The same air. The same rhythms of waking and sleeping. The farmer extinguishes unnecessary light. Only a small lamp remains burning. Its flame flickers softly. Shadows dance upon the walls. Outside, the village grows quieter. A dog barks in the distance. Then silence returns. Somewhere, a donkey shifts its weight. Palm leaves rustle gently in the breeze. The sounds are soft enough to blend into the darkness. The farmer lies down. His body welcomes the opportunity. Every muscle seems grateful. The woven mat feels firm beneath him. Yet comfort comes more from exhaustion than from softness. After a day of labor, sleep rarely arrives with difficulty. The eyes grow heavy. The mind becomes still. The lamp continues glowing for a little while longer. Its warm light touches the walls. The baskets. The jars. The simple tools waiting for another day. Soon even that light will disappear. Outside, the Nile flows quietly beneath the stars. The river glides through darkness as it has for thousands of years. Past villages. Past fields. Past sleeping families. The water reflects moonlight and starlight alike. Reeds whisper along its banks. The cool night air settles across the valley. One by one, conversations fade. One by one, lamps go dark. One by one, families drift into sleep. The village becomes still. Only the river remains awake. Moving gently through the ancient land. Carrying its calm waters beneath the endless stars while farmers, fishermen, craftsmen, merchants, and children rest peacefully beside its banks, gathering strength for another day that will begin with the first pale light of dawn. The night settles fully across the Nile Valley. Most of the lamps have gone dark now. The small points of light that flickered through doorways and narrow windows have disappeared one by one. The village rests beneath a sky crowded with stars. The cool air drifts gently through the lanes between mudbrick homes. Palm leaves sway softly whenever a breeze passes through. The farmer sleeps. His family sleeps beside him. The long day has finally released its hold. The aches in his shoulders are forgotten for a while. The dust of the fields no longer matters. The endless tasks waiting tomorrow remain hidden beyond the horizon of sleep. Around him, countless others rest as well. Farmers, fishermen, potters, boatmen, builders, servants, merchants. Entire communities lie quietly beneath the stars. The sounds of waking life have faded. Only a few gentle noises remain. The distant murmur of water. The occasional rustle of reeds. A sleeping animal shifting in the darkness. The valley breathes slowly. Calmly. Patiently. The Nile continues flowing through the night. Moonlight rests upon its surface. Silver reflections stretch across the water and break apart whenever the current moves around a bend or brushes against reeds along the shore. The river seems almost alive in the darkness. Not in a frightening way. In a comforting way. As though it is keeping watch while the villages sleep. For thousands of years, people living beside the Nile have trusted its presence. Their lives depend upon it. Their fields depend upon it. Their future depends upon it. The river is not simply water. It is the center around which everything turns. Even during the quietest hours of the night, the Nile remains part of every household. Inside the farmer's home, the air feels cooler than it did only a few hours ago. The thick mud brick walls have released much of the day's heat. The room is peaceful. The children sleep deeply. One shifts slightly and then becomes still again. Another curls closer to a blanket. The farmer breathes slowly. The rhythm of sleep fills the room. Outside, the stars will gradually overhead. Ancient Egyptians often paid close attention to the night sky. Long before clocks existed, the heavens offered reliable patterns. The appearance of certain stars could help mark the passing seasons. The movement of the sky became another clock by which life was measured. Farmers learned to observe these changes. Not because they studied astronomy in a formal sense, but because survival required attention. The land, the river, and the sky all offered signs. The successful farmer noticed them. The careful farmer remembered them. The wise farmer passed this knowledge to children and grandchildren. Generations learned through observation, through repetition, through experience. Far from the village, the desert lies silent beneath the moon. The sand appears pale in the silver light. Rocky hills cast long shadows. The emptiness seems endless. Yet along the narrow ribbon of the Nile, life continues. Fields stretch beside the water. Palm groves stand quietly. Villages rest within the darkness. The contrast between fertile land and desert remains striking even at night. One world is harsh and dry. The other is nourished by the river's gift. The hours pass. Slowly. Peacefully. The deepest part of the night arrives. The air reaches its coolest point. The breeze becomes gentler. Everything feels still. It is during these quiet hours that the cycles of the Nile continue unseen. Far to the south, water moves steadily northward. The river carries with it stories from distant lands. It carries soil. It carries life. It carries the future harvests of countless communities. For ancient farmers, one of the most important events in the entire year is the flooding season. Not every year is exactly the same. Some floods are stronger. Some are weaker. Yet the annual rise of the river shapes the entire agricultural calendar. The farmer sleeping in his village understands this deeply. His father understood it. His grandfather understood it. Without the flood, the fields would struggle. Without the rich dark soil left behind by retreating waters, crops would grow poorly. The flood can be inconvenient. It can alter familiar landscapes. It can cover fields for weeks. Yet it is welcomed. Because when the waters finally withdraw, they leave behind fertility. The river gives. And because it gives, communities endure. As the farmer sleeps, dreams drift quietly through his mind. Perhaps they are dreams of fields. Perhaps they are memories of childhood. Perhaps they are nothing more than fragments that vanish before morning. Whatever form they take, they pass silently through the darkness. Around him, the village remains peaceful. A dog briefly lifts its head and listens. Then settles once more. A bird hidden among the reeds adjusts its position. The river flows onward. The moon continues its slow journey. Everything moves according to its own rhythm. Nothing is rushed. Nothing demands urgency. The night encourages patience. Hours continue slipping away. Gradually, almost too slowly to notice, the darkness begins changing. The stars remain bright. The moon still hangs above the valley. Yet the eastern horizon holds the faintest suggestion of light. The first signs of another dawn are arriving. Most people remain asleep. But nature senses the change. Birds begin stirring among the reeds. Small animals become active. The river reflects a subtle brightness far away in the east. The transition is gentle. Ancient mornings rarely begin with sudden movement. Instead, they arrive softly. A gradual awakening. A slow return of color. The farmer remains asleep for a little longer. His body welcomes every moment of rest. Soon enough, the fields will call him back. Soon enough, the heat will return. Soon enough, the cycle will begin again. For now, there is only stillness. The final quiet moments before dawn. The horizon brightens slightly more. Gray becomes pale silver. Silver begins blending into faint gold. The stars nearest the east slowly disappear. One by one. The village remains mostly silent. Yet the world is preparing itself. The Nile reflects the changing sky. Mist gathers lightly above the water. Palm trees emerge from darkness as shapes become easier to see. The outlines of houses return. Roads reappear. The valley slowly awakens. Inside the farmer's home, the first family member begins to stir. The same way it happened yesterday. The same way it happened countless times before. Another day waits beyond the doorway. Another day of planting. Another day of carrying water. Another day of repairing tools. Another day of baking bread. Another day of fishing. Another day of labor beneath the Egyptian sun. The cycle is endless. Yet it is also comforting. Because every person knows their place within it. The river will flow. The sun will rise. The crops will grow. Families will work. Evening will come. Night will return. And beneath the first pale colors of a new dawn, the villages along the Nile prepare once again to greet the ancient day, while the river glides quietly beside them, steady and timeless beneath the awakening sky. The first light of dawn spreads across the Nile Valley once again. A pale glow appears above the eastern horizon, and slowly the darkness begins to retreat. The stars fade one by one. The moon grows faint. A cool mist lingers above the surface of the river, drifting gently between the reeds. The village wakes gradually. There is no sudden beginning. No loud signal announcing the day. Instead, the ancient world awakens in small and quiet ways. A bird calls from a palm tree. A donkey stirs beside a wall. A door opens softly. A clay jar is lifted. The sounds are gentle. Almost sleepy. The Nile reflects the growing light, turning from silver to pale gold as morning arrives. Inside the farmer's home, the family begins another day. The woven mats are rolled aside. Blankets are folded. The room that served as a sleeping space during the night slowly becomes a living space once more. Everything has more than one purpose here. Rooms. Tools. Containers. Nothing is wasted. Nothing sits idle for long. The farmer steps outside. The cool air feels refreshing. He pauses for a moment and looks toward the river. Mist drifts across the water. Palm trees stand motionless in the stillness of dawn. The scene is familiar. Yet each morning possesses its own quiet beauty. The colors change slightly. The breeze arrives from a different direction. The reflections dance differently upon the water. The Nile is always the same. And never exactly the same. Today, however, thoughts turn towards something larger than the ordinary routines of a single day. The annual flood. The event that shapes life throughout the valley. The event upon which everything depends. For ancient farmers, the flood is not merely part of nature. It is the foundation of existence. The entire agricultural cycle revolves around it. The farmer knows this well. His father taught him. His grandfather taught his father. The knowledge stretches backward through generations. Every family living beside the Nile understands the importance of the river's rise. Months earlier, the flood waters arrived. The river expanded beyond its usual banks. Water spread across low-lying fields. Canals filled. The landscape changed. For a time, familiar paths disappeared beneath the water. Certain fields became shallow lakes. The countryside transformed. Yet nobody viewed this as a disaster. Instead, people watched carefully, measured water levels, discussed conditions, wondered whether the flood would be generous. A strong flood could bring abundant fertility. A weak flood might create challenges in the seasons ahead. The flood was never taken for granted. It deserved attention, respect, patience. As the flood waters eventually retreated, they left behind something precious. A layer of rich dark soil. Soft, fertile, perfect for growing crops. The river carried this gift from far away. Every year, it renewed the land. Without this process, farming would become far more difficult. The farmer walks toward his field. The morning remains cool. Birds move among the reeds. The first rays of sunlight spread across the valley. As he walks, he notices traces of earlier floods preserved in the landscape. Slight rises in the ground. Old channels. Areas where soil appears especially rich. The river has shaped every part of this land. Its influence reaches everywhere. Nearby, another farmer is already inspecting a field prepared for planting. The soil looks dark and ready. Soon seeds will be placed into the earth. Soon green shoots will appear. Soon entire fields will come alive with growth. Yet none of it happens instantly. Agriculture teaches patience. Seeds require time. Water requires time. The seasons require time. People living along the Nile learn to accept this. There is little value in rushing what cannot be rushed. The farmer reaches the edge of his field. The earth beneath his sandals feels soft. The air smells faintly of damp soil warmed by the first sunlight. It is a comforting smell. A smell associated with possibility. A smell associated with life itself. Nearby, several workers begin preparing land for planting. Their tools are simple. Wood, rope, stone. Yet generations have proven their effectiveness. The work proceeds steadily. No one expects speed. Only consistency. The morning grows brighter. The village behind them becomes fully awake. Women carry water. Children assist with household tasks. Merchants organize goods. Potters begin shaping clay. The familiar rhythm of life returns. Meanwhile, the fields remain the center of attention. Everything depends upon what happens here. Successful planting means food. Successful planting means security. Successful planting means survival through another year. The farmer bends and gathers a handful of soil. It crumbles easily between his fingers. A good sign. The flood has done its work. The river has delivered another gift. Around him, other farmers make similar observations. They study moisture levels. They examine conditions. They discuss possibilities. Conversations remain calm. Practical. Rooted in experience. No one pretends certainty. Nature always holds some surprises. Yet careful preparation improves the chances of success. The morning continues unfolding. Sunlight spreads farther across the valley. The river sparkles beside the fields. A flock of birds rises from the marshes. Their wings flash brightly in the growing light. For a moment, everyone notices. Then attention returns to the land. Work remains waiting. As planting season progresses, villages often develop a feeling of cautious optimism. The flood has passed. The fields are ready. A new cycle is beginning. There is work to do. Much work. Yet there is also hope. The promise of future harvests rests quietly beneath the soil. A seed may seem insignificant, small, fragile, easy to overlook. Yet entire communities depend upon such small beginnings. The farmer understands this. He has watched countless planting seasons come and go. He has seen years of abundance. He has seen more difficult years as well. Experience teaches humility. No one controls the river. No one controls the weather. People can only do their best. The rest belongs to forces larger than themselves. As the sun rises higher, activity spreads throughout the countryside. Workers move through fields. Boats travel along the river. Smoke rises from village ovens. The valley fills with life. The flood season may have ended, but its influence remains visible everywhere. Fresh soil. Renewed fields. New opportunities. Everything begins with the river. Everything returns to the river. Even celebrations and traditions often acknowledge its importance. In some communities, people gather to mark the changing seasons. Offerings may be made. Prayers may be spoken. Families may share meals together. The details vary from place to place. Yet the message remains similar. Gratitude. Respect. Recognition of the river's role in sustaining life. The farmer does not think about these things constantly. Most days are too busy for prolonged reflection. Yet from time to time, standing beside a field nourished by flood water, he feels a quiet awareness. The land beneath his feet has been renewed. The crops ahead carry promise. The river beside him continues flowing as it always has. Generation after generation. Century after century. The Nile remains. The morning advances steadily. Workers continue preparing fields. The sounds of labor spread across the valley. Tools scrape soil. Birds call overhead. Water moves through channels. Voices drift across the fields. The world feels awake now. Fully awake. Yet the peaceful rhythm remains unchanged. Nothing feels hurried. Nothing feels loud. Only the steady work of ordinary people shaping another season beside the river. And beneath the warm light of the rising sun, farmers continue preparing the fertile earth left behind by the flood, while the Nile glides quietly through the valley, carrying water, memory, and life through the heart of ancient Egypt. The days after the flood carry a special feeling throughout the Nile Valley. The land feels renewed. The fields that were once covered by water are now exposed again, covered with the dark, fertile soil left behind by the river. The ground is ready to receive seeds. The farmers know that the next steps will shape the months ahead. The morning begins as it always does. The sun rises. The river moves. The village wakes. Yet there is a quiet sense of beginning in the air. The farmer walks across the field with a small basket of seeds. Each step presses into the soft earth. The soil is different now. It feels richer, darker, full of the promise of growth. He reaches a prepared section of land. Nearby, other farmers are already working. The process is careful. Seeds must be placed properly. The soil must cover them. Water must reach them. Nothing can be ignored. A harvest begins with patience. The farmer takes a handful of seeds. They fall from his fingers in a small stream. Tiny pieces of life disappearing into the earth. To someone passing by, it might seem like almost nothing. A few grains. A few movements. A simple task. but everyone in the village understands what those small seeds represent. Food. Security. The future. The farmer continues across the field. Step by step. Slowly. The morning air remains cool. The river breeze moves across the land. Birds search among the newly planted areas. The valley seems peaceful. The work is physical, but the mood is different from the hardest days of summer. There is less exhaustion. More anticipation. The crops are not demanding immediate care yet. The future harvest is still hidden beneath the soil. For a short time, farmers experience the quiet waiting period. They have done what they can. Now they must allow nature to continue. Back in the village, the same seasonal change can be felt. The rhythms of daily life shift with the farming calendar. The amount of work changes. The needs of families change. Even conversations change. People speak about the fields. About the river. About the coming months. A neighbor may ask about another farmer's planting. Someone may discuss the condition of the soil. Another may mention the water level. The entire community remains connected to the land. In ancient Egypt, farming was never only an individual activity. The success of one family often affected many others. People shared knowledge. They shared labor. They helped each other through difficult tasks. Life along the Nile depended on cooperation. A farmer working alone would struggle. A village working together could endure. As the days pass, small green shoots begin appearing. At first they are easy to miss. Tiny signs of life rising from the earth. The farmer notices them. He kneels beside the field. The young plants are delicate. Almost fragile. But they are there. The seeds have awakened. The cycle has begun. The farmer smiles quietly. Not with excitement. Not with celebration. Just with the calm satisfaction of seeing nature respond. The river provided water. The soil provided support. The seeds have begun their journey. Now the work continues. The fields require care. Water must be guided. Animals must be managed. The young crops must be protected. The peaceful appearance of farming hides the constant attention it requires. A field may look still. But many things are happening. Roots are spreading. Plants are growing. The soil is changing. Life is moving beneath the surface. The farmer walks along irrigation channels each morning. He checks the flow. He clears small obstacles. He repairs weak areas. These tasks become part of his daily path. The same route. The same observations. The same careful movements. There is comfort in familiarity. The village follows the same pattern. A baker prepares bread. A potter shapes clay. A fisherman casts nets. A merchant travels. A farmer tends the land. Everyone continues with their role. The days blend together. Not because they are empty, but because they are full of repeated routines. Routines that sustain life. As the weeks pass, the fields become greener. The valley changes color. The brown earth slowly becomes covered with crops. From a distance, the landscape appears almost like a living carpet beside the river. The desert remains beyond. Dry. Quiet. Unchanging. But beside the Nile, growth continues. The contrast is remarkable. The river creates a narrow world of abundance. A place where villages can survive for generations. The farmers' children begin spending more time in the fields. They are still young. Their tasks are small. carrying simple items, watching animals, helping with gathering. But they are learning. They learn by being present. They learn the same way their parents learned. Through observation. Through repetition. Through everyday life. A child may not understand the importance of every task. Not yet. But the knowledge settles slowly. A lesson seen today may become useful many years later. The fields become a classroom without walls. The river becomes part of the lesson. The seasons become the teacher. The children learn patience. They learn responsibility. They learn that many important things require time. A seed cannot be forced to grow faster. A river cannot be commanded to change its path. A harvest cannot be rushed. These truths become part of life. Meanwhile, the sun continues its daily journey. Some days are gentle. Some days are difficult. The weather changes. The wind changes. The amount of work changes. But the cycle continues. There are mornings when the air is cool and pleasant. There are afternoons when the heat becomes heavy. There are evenings when the entire valley seems to breathe a sigh of relief. Every day has its own character. Yet the larger rhythm remains the same. The Nile flows. The crops grow. People work. Families rest. Time moves forward. One afternoon, the farmer sits briefly beside the river. The field behind him is young and green. The water moves quietly in front of him. He watches a boat pass. The sail catches the wind. The vessel glides smoothly across the surface. For a moment, everything feels still. The river. The field. The sky. The farmer simply rests. Moments like this are rare during busy seasons. But they are valuable. The work will continue soon. The sun will continue moving. There will always be something waiting. Yet for a short while, he allows himself to sit beside the river and listen. The water. The breeze. The distant voices. The sounds of a living valley. The Nile has witnessed countless such moments. Farmers resting beside its banks. Children playing nearby. Fishermen preparing boats. Travelers passing through. The river has been part of all of it. As evening approaches, the farmer returns home. The young crops remain behind him, growing quietly beneath the fading light. Tomorrow they will still be there. The river will still be there. The work will continue. The village will continue. And as the sun sinks once again beyond the western desert, the fields of ancient Egypt settle into another peaceful night, carrying within them the hidden promise of future harvests and the endless rhythm of life beside the Nile. The growing season continues quietly along the Nile. Days pass one after another. The fields slowly transform. What began as tiny green shoots now becomes a landscape of stronger plants moving gently beneath the river breeze. The valley changes almost without anyone noticing. The transformation is gradual, like the slow movement of the river itself. The farmer sees the changes every morning. He notices the height of the crops, the color of the leaves, the condition of the soil. Small details matter. A single weak area can reveal a larger problem. A healthy field requires constant attention. The farmer walks between the rows as the sun rises. The early morning remains his favorite time. The air is cooler. The land feels quiet. Before the heat arrives, the world seems almost gentle. His sandals move across the earth. The plants brush lightly against his legs. The sound of water flowing through channels follows him. It is a familiar sound. A sound that has accompanied him since childhood. The Nile is always nearby. Even when he cannot see it, he knows it is there. The river shapes the entire landscape. The paths people walk. The crops people grow. The villages people build. The lives people live. As the sun climbs higher, the peaceful morning begins to change. The heat returns. The farmer continues his inspection. A section of soil appears too dry. He checks the irrigation channel. A small blockage has formed. He clears it carefully. The water begins moving again. A simple repair. A necessary repair. Without attention, small problems become larger ones. Farming requires patience, but it also requires constant care. The same is true inside the village. Daily life depends upon endless small actions. A roof must be repaired. A basket must be woven. A tool must be fixed. A jar must be cleaned. A meal must be prepared. A family must be cared for. Nothing remains perfect on its own. Everything needs attention. In one home near the edge of the village, an older farmer rests beside a wall. His working days are fewer now. His body carries many years of labor. The younger generation takes on more responsibility. This is how knowledge passes forward. The old teach. The young learn. Skills move from one pair of hands to another. The older farmer watches the fields. He knows the land well. He can recognize problems before others notice them. Years of experience have taught him things that cannot be learned quickly. He knows the feel of good soil. He knows the signs of changing weather. He knows when a plant is struggling. The young farmer listens. Not every lesson comes from words. Many lessons come from watching. From observing. From standing beside someone who has done the same work for decades. The village continues its daily rhythm. The baker rises early. The fisherman returns from the river. The potter shapes clay. The merchant prepares for travel. Children move between homes and fields. The days are full, but they follow familiar patterns. The simplicity of routine provides comfort. People know what tomorrow will likely bring. Another sunrise. Another field. Another meal. Another night beneath the stars. The growing season also brings challenges. Not every day is easy. Sometimes illness enters a household. Sometimes a worker becomes too tired to continue. Sometimes the crops struggle. Life in ancient Egypt requires endurance. The farmer understands this. A strong body helps. A careful mind helps. But even the strongest people experience difficult days. One morning, a worker does not arrive at the field. His family remains at home. He has become sick. The village notices. People understand how important health is. A missing worker affects more than one person. Tasks must be shared. Neighbors may help. Family members may take on extra work. The community adjusts. This is another part of life beside the Nile. People depend upon each other. A farmer cannot control everything. The river may rise differently. The weather may change. A person may become weak. Yet people continue. They adapt. They endure. The farmer works longer hours that day. Not because he wants recognition. Not because anyone is watching. Simply because the field requires care. The sun moves overhead. The heat grows stronger. His body becomes tired. But he continues walking. Checking. Repairing. Maintaining. By afternoon, exhaustion settles over him. He rests briefly beneath a palm tree. The shade feels cool. He drinks water slowly. Nearby, the river continues moving. The sound is calming. The farmer closes his eyes for a moment. The world becomes quieter. The breeze moves through the leaves above him. The distant sounds of the village blend together. A hammer striking wood. A bird calling. A boat moving across water. The valley feels alive, yet peaceful. The afternoon passes. Eventually he returns to work. There is always something waiting. The days are long, but they are also filled with familiar moments. A successful repair. A healthy crop. A shared meal. A cool evening breeze. Small comforts appear everywhere. As weeks turn into months, the crops continue growing. The fields become taller, greener, more established. The farmer begins thinking about the future harvest. The time will come when the plants must be cut. The grain must be collected. The food must be stored. But that time is still ahead. For now, the plants continue their quiet growth. The Nile continues its quiet flow. The village continues its quiet life. In the evenings, families gather as they always do. The heat of the day fades. The smell of bread fills the air. Children become sleepy. Adults talk softly. The same stars appear overhead. The same river moves nearby. The same ancient rhythm continues. One evening, the farmer sits outside his home. The work is finished for the day. The air is cooler. The village is calm. He looks toward the fields. They are no longer empty after the flood. They are alive. Green and growing. A result of many small efforts. The river provided the water. The soil provided support. The people provided the labor. Together, these things created another season. The farmer does not think of this as something extraordinary. It is simply life. The way things have always been. The way things are expected to be. The Nile gives. People work. The earth responds. The cycle continues. And as the evening darkness slowly settles over the valley, the farmer listens to the quiet sounds of the village, the soft movement of the river, and the gentle breeze passing over the fields, knowing that tomorrow will bring another ordinary day in the ancient world beside the Nile. The season continues to move forward. The small green plants that once barely appeared above the soil have now become strong and tall. The fields that were quiet after the flood are now filled with movement. The Nile Valley has changed again. The soft colors of early growth have become deeper and richer. The crops sway gently whenever the river breeze passes through. From a distance, the fields appear almost endless, stretching beside the water in long peaceful lines. The farmer notices the difference every morning. The work has changed too. Earlier, the main concern was planting. Then came the careful waiting. Now another period approaches. Harvest. The time when months of patience become visible. The time when the village becomes busier. The time when every pair of hands becomes important. The farmer walks through the field at sunrise. He touches the grain carefully. The plants are strong. The heads are full. The signs of a good harvest are beginning to appear. Around him, other farmers make the same observations. Quiet conversations pass between them. The crops look promising. The weather has been favorable. The river has provided enough water. There is a sense of cautious relief. But the farmers do not celebrate too early. They have learned patience. A harvest can still be affected by many things. The weather. The timing. The labor available. The condition of tools. Everything matters. The farmer returns home after checking the field. The household is already awake. The morning meal is simple. Bread. A few vegetables. Water. Perhaps something from the river. The family eats before the day becomes too warm. Everyone understands that the coming weeks will require more effort. Harvest season is demanding. Long days. Many tasks. Little rest. But it is also one of the most important times of the year. The entire community prepares. Tools are checked. Storage areas are cleaned. Baskets are repaired. Animals are prepared for carrying loads. Nothing can be overlooked. In a small workshop near the village, a craftsman repairs wooden handles for farming tools. His hands move slowly but confidently. The same tools have been used for generations. They may wear down. They may break. But they are repaired whenever possible. The craftsman knows that many farmers will depend on these tools soon. His work supports their work. Every person contributes. The village functions through these connections. As the harvest days approach, the fields become more active. Workers arrive earlier. They stay later. The cool morning hours become especially valuable. The farmer wakes before sunrise. The stars are still visible when he leaves home. The air is cool. The village is quiet. His family sleeps. The world belongs briefly to those who wake early. He walks along the dusty path carrying his tools. The moon hangs low in the sky. The Nile moves beside him. For a moment, before the day's labor begins, everything feels peaceful. Then the first light appears. The valley awakens. Other workers arrive. The fields fill with quiet activity. The harvest begins. The movement is steady. Plants are cut carefully. Bundles are gathered. Grain is collected. The work requires coordination. Many hands move together. Some workers cut. Some carry. Some organize. Some prepare areas for drying. The field becomes a place of constant motion. Yet even in the busiest moments, the rhythm remains calm. Ancient farming is not fast. It cannot be. Every action depends on human strength. Every bundle must be handled. Every load must be carried. The sun rises higher. Heat begins spreading across the land. Sweat appears quickly. The farmer feels the weight of the day. His back aches. His hands become rougher. But the sight of the harvested grain gives him strength. This is what all the work has led to. The food that will support families. The grain that will fill storage rooms. The harvest that will carry people through the future months. Around midday, the heat becomes intense. Workers take short breaks. They sit beneath trees or beside walls. They drink water. They eat simple meals. The conversations are quiet. Everyone is tired. But there is also satisfaction. The hardest work is meaningful. The afternoon continues. The fields slowly change. Areas once covered with tall crops become open land again. Golden bundles replace green plants. The farmer looks across the field. The transformation is striking. The season of growth is ending. Another cycle is moving toward completion. Nearby, animals help transport the harvest. Donkeys carry baskets. Oxen assist with heavier loads. Their importance is clear. Without animals, much of the work would become even harder. They move patiently through the fields. They follow familiar paths. They are part of village life. By evening, workers return home exhausted. The roads are filled with tired footsteps. Tools are carried back. Baskets are emptied. Animals are led to rest. The village feels the weight of the day. Yet there is comfort too. Another successful day has passed. The family meal feels especially welcome after harvest work. Bread tastes better when earned through effort. The farmer sits with his family. His hands are tired. His body is heavy. But his mind is calm. The work is difficult. Yet it has purpose. Outside, the harvested fields rest beneath the evening sky. The golden light touches the remaining plants. Birds move across the open land. The river continues flowing as always. The Nile has witnessed countless harvests. It has seen farmers work these fields for thousands of years. Each generation repeats the same basic tasks. Plant. Grow. Harvest. Rest. Begin again. The river remains the constant presence. The people change. The seasons change. The villages grow and disappear. But the Nile continues. As night arrives, the farmer steps outside once more. The village is quieter now. The sounds of labor have faded. Only gentle movements remain. A door closing. A fire burning. A conversation in the distance. He looks toward the storage areas where the harvest is being gathered. The work is not finished yet. There will be sorting, drying, storing, planning. Many more tasks remain. But tonight, rest comes first. The farmer returns inside. The lamp is lit. Its warm glow fills the room. The family settles down. The children sleep. The adults prepare for tomorrow. The same stars appear above the Nile. The same river moves beneath them. Another day has ended. Another part of the ancient cycle has passed. And as the village falls into silence, the harvested fields wait quietly under the moonlight, holding the results of months of patience, labor, and life beside the timeless river. The daily life of farmers along the Nile. Boring history. The night returns once more to the Nile Valley. The busy sounds of the day slowly disappear. The fields rest beneath the moonlight. The tools that worked beneath the sun now lie quietly beside the walls of simple homes. Baskets are placed aside. Sandals are removed. The last small lamps glow softly before their flames become still. The farmer rests after another long day. His hands have touched the soil. His feet have followed the same paths his ancestors walked. His eyes have watched the river rise and fall, bring life and carry time forward. The Nile continues moving beside him. Quiet. Patient. Endless. The water passes the sleeping villages just as it passed countless villages before them. It moves beyond the fields, beyond the boats, beyond the distant palms standing silently against the dark sky. The river remembers everything. The farmers who planted seeds. The workers who carried baskets. The fishermen who waited patiently beside the water. The families who gathered each evening around simple meals. The children who learned the ways of the land from those who came before them. Their names may have faded. Their voices may have disappeared into the centuries. But their daily lives remain connected to the river. A morning walk through the fields. The warmth of fresh bread. The feeling of cool water after hours beneath the sun. The quiet relief of returning home at dusk. The peaceful silence of a village sleeping beneath the stars. These small moments formed the true story of ancient Egypt. Not only the great monuments, Not only the temples and the rulers, but the ordinary days of ordinary people. The farmers who cared for the earth. The workers who built and repaired. The families who shared what they had. The people who lived beside the Nile and followed its rhythm. The night grows deeper now. The stars shine above the valley. The desert remains still in the distance. The fields breathe quietly beneath the darkness. The river continues its gentle journey. And somewhere beside the water, in a small mud-brick home, a family sleeps peacefully. Tomorrow the sun will rise again. The village will wake again. The fields will call again. The Nile will continue flowing. But for now, there is only the calm of the ancient night. The soft sound of water. The cool breeze moving through the reeds. The quiet earth beneath resting homes. And the endless river carrying the dreams of those who lived beside it, long ago, beneath the timeless sky of Egypt.